All right, guys, welcome back to another Master and Apprentice Lego Star Wars video. Today, we're going to be ranking all of the 2024 sets. It's our annual thing that we do. We rank all of these sets from the previous year. Usually, we just do play sets, but this year, I thought we'd introduce like the diorama and like the buildable mini scale sets and the helmet sets going forward, because we do sometimes buy those and review them. Just keep in mind, and this is a whole personal thing, so if you guys disagree, I that's fair. Just let me know in the comments, and maybe I'll try to give it a more fair hedge next time. But I really don't enjoy like the diorama sets, things like that, and the buildable MIDI skill sets. Those aren't like my favorite things. Those are usually some of my least favorite things. That's just my personal feeling, and I know a lot of people don't feel the same way. I tried to be as unbiased as I possibly can or could with this ranking and this review of these sets. But just keep that in mind. If it seems like obviously way too low to you, it's because I just don't enjoy those kind of sets. And with that being said, this list is relatively subjective. We tried to be as unbiased as we could when we put this list together. But this is kind of our idea of what's like the best set from this year, what you think you should buy, and all those kind of things. And yeah, without further ado, we'll get right into number 25.
At number 25, we got set number 75384, the Crimson Firehawk 4+ set. Not too much to say here. The 4+ set doesn't really bring too much to the table, and it's $50. If I'm buying a toy for a 4 or 5-year-old, I don't really intend on spending $50. So it's a bit the fact that it's overpriced, doesn't really bring much to the table. So it's 4+ just stays there usually.
I mean, that set's already on sale everywhere, like 50% off, right? There's a reason for that. The next set we have is set 75392. This is the Play Droid Builder set. This is a relatively newer set that came out October 1st, I believe. Yeah, I don't really know where to begin with this set. This set's like 3 different droids, I believe, and they look like kind of like Brickhead style, like that smaller style. Not quite like a buildable character style, but like still small enough that you can play with them. And they have like all these brick built accessories that you can, like a hat or a duck inflatable or things like that to kind of like customize your droid, R2D2 or Chopper or whatever. And it's 25th anniversary set. It comes with young Leia from the Kenobi series. So that part being said alone, obviously people are going to buy it because of that, right? They want to collect all the 25th anniversary characters. But this set's so low because I don't think anyone asked for this. And for a set that no one asked for, why is it $100, right? This is a set that's obviously geared towards a younger crowd, right? No collector wants to buy a Lego Star Wars set and customize his R2D2 so he has a cowboy hat and mustache, right? That's just not appealing. That's appealing to a younger kid, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. But in that case, why is it $100? It just seems absurdly unfair. There's no minifigures included in the set except for the 125th anniversary character, and that one anniversary character seems like one of the worst anniversary characters we got. A character that no one really wanted and no one asked for. Again, this set is just a bunch of gloobly glob of things that no one really asked for or wanted. Sometimes that works out in Lego's benefit because we didn't expect it. Sometimes people didn't want it because they didn't like it, right? Or they weren't expecting it because they didn't want it, right? All these things being said, it's not a terrible set, but just the price alone seems like it was wrong price for the wrong crowd.
The next set we got is set number 75380, the Mos Espa Diorama. Retails for $80. Pretty expensive. Some of the dioramas can be kind of expensive, but that's definitely on the higher end of the dioramas. And it doesn't really bring much to the table. Again, it's not bad. I'm not a huge fan of the dioramas in general, but it's just some landscaping and the speeder that bike that Anakin uses, and it's nothing too special about it. So that's why it's pretty low on the list.
Someone pointed out that looks like if you put a microfighter on a backdrop of Tatooine, and you want to tell me that's $80. Like, there's really not much to this set, and it's crazy it's $80. Something you're going to kind of see reappearing is a lot of these sets are low, mostly due to the prices. This year felt like one of the worst years when it came to price evaluation. A lot of these sets just seem overly priced, like absurdly. And that doesn't change for the next couple, including number 22, the Sith Infiltrator set 75383. This one retailed for $70. The minifigure, this ones are okay, but the Maul alone, this is like one of the first times we see Lego really set in stone that Sith have all yellow eyes, no pupils, and I'm not a fan of it. I think it looks really, really bad. Maul looks like garbage in this set. the Anakin and Qui-Gon look okay. They're not bad. It's nice to get those again. The Sith Infiltrator, for how small it is, $70 seems absurdly unfair. This set seems like it should be like $50 or $55. $70, and for the Maul alone, this set's just not. It's not one of the highlights. It's one of the lowlights of 2024, in my opinion. It is a 25th anniversary set, so you do get Saw Gerrera. That's one of the best parts of this set, in my opinion. You're going to see a common occurrence with some of these sets that aren't popular fans and that seem absurdly priced. They have 25th anniversary minifigures. Like, you can tell Lego was trying to, like, okay, this set sucks, but let's put a 25th anniversary minifigure in it, and people will be forced to buy it. That's just how it appears to me, at least.
And that's no exception for number 21, set number 75396, the Skiff and Sarlacc pit, which retailed for $80. Again, overpriced and has that 25th anniversary minifigure Nien Nunb. It just seems like a tiny build for the price of it. It's very detailed for the Sarlacc pit, and it looks great and has a couple play functions in that. But it's just, you look at the set and it's tiny. The Skiff, it's kind of cool as well, but then again, that looks like a speeder bike, a little bit bigger than a speeder bike. And you're telling me those two together are $80? Has a great selection of minifigures, but I mean, it's just wildly overpriced. And adding that 25th anniversary minifigure does not make up for the whole price, in my opinion. It really feels like they made this set for, obviously they did intentionally make it for the Jabba sail barge, but that's now a UCS set that's $580 with this. That's kind of how it feels to me, where you're just combining the two and putting them into two separate sets.
I feel like it should have been a promo with the UCS set almost. I feel like it just doesn't feel like it should have been its own $80 set. It just seems kind of absurd. Then we have number 20, set 75391, Captain Rex's Microfighter Y-Wing. This retailed for $13. There's nothing really particularly wrong with this. I'm just, microfighters are never really my favorite personally. And I think it's really nice to get another Phase 2 Captain Rex. I'm not going to complain, but this is, I think, objectively worse than the previous Phase 2 Captain Rex. The printing is not as good. There's no skirt piece. I always forget what it's called. That's just printed on now. And the helmet holes are obviously not that great. I just think Captain Rex is not as good. But this is probably one of the better microfighters I feel like we've gotten in the last couple years. But it's a microfighter. This is never a fan favorite. This is when you pick up for a stocking or for a relative that you don't want to spend too much on.
The next set we got is number 19, set number 75375, the buildable Millennium Falcon for $85. This one, $85 feels outrageous for this, but on top of the price, why kind of doesn't exist. It doesn't surprise me that they did it. Of course, Millennium Falcon is one of the, if not the most iconic ship in Star Wars, but these MIDI scale sets that they've been releasing, these kind of displayable ones, have been a lot of the larger ships like the Executor. We'll see the Tantive 4 also came out this year, which isn't ginormous, but it's way bigger than this. And this feels like it's just out of place. I know the Millennium Falcon is technically a cargo ship, but it's nowhere near the size of these other freighters, these other huge, gigantic naval ships. And for $85, it seems overpriced, especially when it's so small. And it has cool Easter eggs. There's good parts about it. If you like the set at the look and you get it on sale, it's not necessarily a bad set, but retail price and the fact that it doesn't really fit with the others just kind of takes it down on the list.
And the fact there's so many Millennium Falcon options out there. I mean, there's just so many different options. If you want a Millennium Falcon for display, there's probably like 3 or 4 options now, and there probably was 3 years ago, right? Like, there's always a Millennium Falcon available for buy. And this one just seems like absurdly priced for how many options are already out there. Then we have number 18, set 75390, Luke Skywalker's X-Wing mech. This was $16. Mechs are obviously aimed towards a younger crowd, right? You can say that to say the least. But I think out of all the mechs that have come out so far with Boba Fett, Darth Vader, this is probably one of the better ones. I think this is actually a really cool mech, a really great mech. I just like the build of it. The only one that really I think is comparable is the Stormtrooper. And then the only one that has a comparable minifigure is probably Boba Fett. But I think out of all the mechs, this was one of my favorite mechs. But it's just like a middle of the pack. This is similar to the Microfighter. I just thought this one was a little bit more unique, right? When you buy a set and you're not going to see it again, like a Microfighter or a mech, you want whatever you're buying to be special, unique. And Captain Rex's Y-Wing didn't feel like that. I felt like this one did a little bit. they're very similar. They're kind of both in the middle of the pack for me.
And next one we got is 17, set number 75376, the buildable Tantive 4, which retails for $80. This one, I don't really dislike the build at all, but again, it's $80. These MIDI scale ships are actually not bad. I actually really like this idea, especially for the Executor, these really huge ones. This Tantive 4 is, again, looks really nice and feels good, and it's just a good set overall, but it's $80. It feels ridiculously priced when you compare it to the other ones that come out this year. Of course, not the Millennium Falcon, but as we'll get to the Invisible Hand, and then another one. It's overpriced, but it looks pretty good, so it's kind of in the middle of the pack.
Yeah. Then we go to number 16, so pretty much like straight in the middle. We have set 75394, the Imperial Star Destroyer, with $160. This one was also a 25th anniversary. Came with Cal Kestis, so that alone was a huge seller for me. The set isn't anything particularly wrong. It's actually a pretty cool set. I actually really enjoyed it. But I guess the reason this isn't higher up, like a top 10 for me, is how much they reduced the size of this compared to the other Star Destroyer sets, like Moff Gideon's Cruiser and the Star Destroyer from a couple years back. And they kind of upped the price. Those ones were like $140. This is $160. I know inflation's been tough, but it's a really hard pill to swallow, a reduction in size and an up in price. It's never going to be something easy to take, right? But if you look at the set objectively, it's a pretty good set. It's a pretty middle of the pack. I just wish it was either a little bit bigger or cost a little less. That's all.
Number 15, we got set number 75374, the Onyx Cinder, retailing for $140. Now, this is a pretty cool ship. It looks nice, has some good playable features. But at the moment, we don't know what it's going to be, how good it's going to be, how accurate it's going to be to the show because it hasn't come out yet. It's kept being delayed. But that being said, there definitely are some sturdy building techniques used here, some Easter eggs, which I don't understand what they mean yet, but I can definitely tell when reading the instruction manual, there's this specific thing set aside, and it's like showing how you can use it. And the thrusters move to lift off. It's a really cool set, but then again, the show hasn't even really come out, so we don't really know what to expect. And it's overpriced to an extent, like everything has, but I don't feel like this is too much of a jump to go because you got a very wide variety of minifigures. I believe the entire skeleton crew, and I mean it's just above middle of the pack. It's just middle of the pack.
Yeah. This set and the show were actually supposed to come out last year, so both have received quite a bit of delays. Then we have number 14, set 75377, the buildable Invisible Hand, the MIDI scale Invisible Hand. This was only $55. I think this was one of the better MIDI scales. Yeah, I think the Executor is probably my favorite, but the Invisible Hand is top 1, top 2, top 3. It's kind of what they're supposed to be, right? It's not really supposed to have all these cool Easter eggs. It's literally just meant for a display. If you want to add like a extra like stutter to like, oh, this represents Anakin and Kenobi, I'll give you that. But like the Falcon just seems kind of too big, right? For $85, it's bigger and costs way more than the Invisible Hand. And I know it's more iconic than the Invisible Hand, but again, I don't think iconic plays into this. There's so many Millennium Falcons. There's no Invisible Hands. I think what matters is how accurate, the displayability, and the price, right? And I think this is pretty good. It's number 14. It's not high on the list because, like I said, I'm just not keen on these 18 plus sets. They're just not my personal favorite, especially these MIDI scale ones. But I will give this one props. I think this is one of the better MIDI scales they've released.
Number 13, we have set number 75381, the buildable Droideka, retailing for $65. Now, before we get into the big build, the tiny Droideka has gone through many different developments. This one is not apparently the best one. It's not the worst, but it's just middle to low. There's not great things about it. And a set centered around the Droideka, you'd figure the Droideka would be perfected by now. Now, onto the larger build, it actually is pretty darn cool. Something to just sit on your shelf. $65 doesn't seem crazy overpriced for the price increases we've seen this year. I mean, I don't think I'm going to buy that retail $65, but once it goes down to 50, possibly 55, I'm like, that seems like something that'd go well on a shelf, like, I don't know, that buildable Grogu over there. It just seems like something that's cool, fits there. A little overpriced, but everything seems to be, so it's above average in this list.
This wasn't like a needed character for buildable, but the way they did it, you can appreciate it. This is in the middle of the pack, but it's in the higher middle of the pack because there's nothing wrong with this set except for maybe the smaller minifigure size buildable Droideka, but that's not the main point of this set, obviously. Then we have number 12, set 75388, Jedi Bob's Starfighter, retailing for $40. Now, I've got to be straight honest with you. This set doesn't really have any appeal to me at all, except for Jedi Bob alone. And that's pretty much how every fan feels. The Akbar Trooper, I mean, it's literally a clone trooper with an Akbar head. Any kid who ever wanted to do that could, because every kid has those two minifigures. The Gonk droid's cool, I guess, but I don't think that's like a selling point by any means. And the Starfighter is really not that unique. It's very similar to the Kenobi style and art, and the extra thrusters and engines. I mean, they're I don't want to say the word lame, but I can't really think of a better word. They're not really that cool, right? It's not like it has this awesome giant missile launcher attachment. It's just like these small thrusters that I don't think are necessary. And it's $40 when we just had Kenobi Starfighter for $35 not that long ago, right? It just seems a little overpriced, and there's nothing super unique except for Jedi Bob. And that part alone really makes this a huge selling point for fans. And I can't knock it down too low. It's just there's nothing absurdly great about this set except for Jedi Bob, and Jedi Bob is great.
Number 11, we have set number 40755, the Imperial Dropship versus Rebel Scout Speeder, retailing for $40, and that's the only problem. Personally, I think this set is actually great, but if it was $10 lower, it would be top 3 on the list in my opinion. I mean, you got 2 battle packs put together. Usually a battle pack is 4 minifigures and retails for $20. So you get 6 real minifigures and retailing for $40. Yeah, it's overpriced, and it has two builds in it. So if this was $30, it would be perfect. I'm not going to forget to mention the 25th anniversary minifigure, QTKT. Not a really special minifigure, not something that everyone wanted, was excited for, but it's not bad to have this addition in it. And as Sammy said earlier in this video, it really feels like they threw that QTKT in there and charged everyone $10 more just for that minifigure. Because if this was $30 without the 25th anniversary minifigure, at least in my list, it would definitely be top 5 because you can do so much with buying multiple of these. And if it goes on sale for just a little off, I mean, buy 10 of them and have a whole bunch of Imperial drop ships. Like, there's so much you could do with this.
Yeah, this set is I love this set. It's one of my favorite sets, but it's just $10 too much, and it feels like they put that price tag just because of the 25th anniversary, which is unfortunate. Then we break into our top 10. 10 and 9, I kept switching. I could still make an argument for switching. So don't hate me for what we put. This is just what we kind of left it as. We really could still switch it to this point, but we're going to keep it as it is. Number 10 being set 75386, Paz Vizsla versus Moff Gideon battle. This retail for $40. This is a cool set for Mandalorian Season 3. It has like that barrier, that wall where Paz Vizsla kind of gives up the rest of the Mandalorians and kind of sacrifices himself, takes on the Praetorian Guards and Moff Gideon. It's a cool scene. It's a sentimental scene. It's cool to get another Paz Vizsla. It's cool to get the new Praetorian Guards, and then best of all, it's cool to get the Beskar Moff Gideon. That's probably the highlight of this set, and it's not absurdly priced. I feel like it's a good set overall. Just it's a good set. I think it's one of the highlights of this year.
Next up we get is number 975378, Bark Speeder Escape, retails for $30. Of course, this is a scene that we see flashback with Grogu, Order 66, with some troopers tackling the temple and Kelleran Beck, and Grogu escaping on a speeder, which it's very cool to get Kelleran Beck in minifigure form. He's done very well. The speeder, of course, nothing really to worry about, but that was the main build here. You get a speeder, a sidecar, and a very important lamp. And then there's two troopers, 2 clone troopers as well included in this set. And there's really nothing wrong with it. It's not top 3, not the best set in the world, but we get Kelleran Beck, a speeder, because if you're going to buy the set, you're getting something. The speeder's not bad. I'm sure you can disattach the sidecar and use it somewhere else. And Grogu, of course, and 2 clone troopers. There's really nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, $30 is so affordable for some cool characters. It feels like an easy buy for Christmas. It's a very good set in my opinion. Then number 8, we have set 75393, the TIE Fighter and X-Wing mashup. This is from the Rebuild a Galaxy. This one isn't bad by any means. Me personally, I love the 2-in-1 sets where it has like 2 ships in one. We recently had the TIE Interceptor and the Mandalorian Gauntlet. I just love when they do this kind of stuff. This is no exception to that. I think this is a great set. Overall, I don't think this set is crazy unique. I'm surprised they haven't done something like this in the past, where you have an X-wing and a TIE fighter, you can change the wings. This just seems like something they probably will do again eventually. But the minifigures are unique. They are cool. I love the McDonald's or Lego, whatever. It's like red and yellow, so it's McDonald's colors or Lego colors. Droid. It's just a really cool character. And then it's got some characters that are unique from the Rebuild the Galaxy. Overall, a really strong set. Seems very priced and just good minifigures.
At number 7 on our list, we have set number 75398, the buildable C3PO, retailing for $140. They came out, we're going to see soon, the buildable R2D2 and the buildable Chewbacca, and they all come in sizes that are comparable to each other. And like that Grogu I pointed to earlier, it's just a really cool display set. It does exactly what it's supposed to. $140 feels like a lot, but I've built the R2D2, and $100 seems relatively fair. If it was on sale for $10 off, I feel like it's a pretty fair set price. And I think there's no real exception for the C3PO. I think 130 would be perfect, but at that point, we haven't seen much like this in the past. I mean, a long time ago we have, but prices have changed a lot since then, so I'm not really too disappointed with anything about this set. And right after that is number 6, set number 75379. You guessed it, buildable R2D2, retailing for $100. This one has to go above the C3PO because it includes a 25th anniversary minifigure, Darth Malak. I mean, it's a really cool minifigure to get, very unexpected to me at least. But then on top of that, the droid is done really well. R2D2 is done well. C3PO is done well. R2D2 goes on top because it has the figure. And I don't feel like they really added $10 on top for this minifigure. I think this is one of the few that they priced it pretty fair.
I feel like this set would have been $100 regardless of the 25th anniversary figure. Then we have number 5, breaking into our top 5, set 75385, Ahsoka's Duel on Peridea, retailing for only $55. This set, when you look at it first, I feel like kind of looks overpriced, but the build's actually relatively thick. I think the build is just fine. It's mostly for display. There are some play features and functions, but I think the highlight of this has got to be obviously the minifigures. This has a great lineup of minifigures. Morgan Elsbeth, Ezra, Thrawn. The return of Thrawn alone is a huge deal. The new Ahsoka from the Ahsoka series, and then it has the first ever Stormtrooper, the Night Trooper, right? The zombie troopers that we see. This is a really, really good set. I think the only thing, not pushing it up is A, it's not 25th anniversary, so it doesn't have that really exclusive minifigure. And 2, I think people were really hoping for Captain Enoch. I know he's retailed for a battle pack next year, but I think people were really wishing he came in this one. Overall, really good set. Seems very fairly priced, and the minifigures are stellar in this.
Number 4, we have set number 75387, Boarding Tantive 4, again retailing for $55. I mean, on par with Ahsoka's Duel on Peridea. They seem like very similar sets. It's a displayable scene, has some nice play functions. This one is a 25th anniversary, so it comes with the ARC Trooper 5s, so that's a cool addition to have. Other than that, the minifigures, Stormtroopers, Darth Vader, Rebel Troopers. We haven't had Rebel Troopers in a while, so it's kind of cool to get some of those as well. But very playable set. It has some play functions that I really didn't expect. I thought this would just go on a wall, on a shelf, and just sit there and look cool in the scene. But you have Darth Vader force choking someone. You have the door opening. I mean, there's some things that I just really didn't expect. And for $55, and it also has those Technic pieces, so you can put 2 together and make an extra long hallway. I mean, there's really nothing that they could have added.
Yeah, the modular part is really nice. That was a selling point for the Dark Trooper hallway, and this has that function as well, so that's nice. Then we have, breaking to our top 3, set 75373, the Ambush on Mandalore battle pack. This is literally a perfect battle pack to me, right? I mean, it's obviously not a clone battle pack, which a lot of people prefer, but when it comes to battle packs, this is just how they're meant to be. A, you don't want named characters, and B, whatever the characters are, you want them to be able to be like army builders, right? And you get pretty much 2 characters that are army builders. You get some standard Mandalorians, from like the Siege of Mandalore, and you get 2 Super Commando Stormtroopers, and they're awesome. I love this set. This is just a perfect battle pack to me. I think everything about this is great, and I love the Commando Stormtroopers. I'm glad they did a unique helmet. Sometimes Lego kind of scares me because they reuse helmets or reuse molds when they really shouldn't be. They didn't do that. They didn't cut any corners for this one, and it's just a battle pack, so I really appreciate it.
At number 2, we have set number 75372, Clone Trooper versus Droid Battle Pack, retails for $30. I honestly forgot this one came out this year. It came out January of 2024, if I'm not mistaken. But there's really nothing more you want from this set. Again, a perfect battle pack, $30. So it's not a standard battle pack, it's bigger. Comes with a Tri-Droid as part of the build, a Speeder Bike as part of the build. It feels kind of weird how two people can fit on that, but you don't like that, take it off. I mean, the builds that come in this battle pack can be reused for almost any army building use. There's really nothing more you want from it. It has clone troopers, B2s, B1s. I mean, that's it. That's all you need.
Yeah, and then obviously that gives us number one, set 75389, the Dark Falcon, retailing for $180. I know fans weren't, really expecting a set like this, but obviously what breaks it all is Darth Jar Jar alone. But the fact that this is a set we're never going to see something like again, right? Some of these Rebuild the Galaxy sets, we might see some variations, like I was mentioning, the TIE Fighter and X-Wing. We're not going to see a Dark Falcon. This is never going to happen again. These characters are never going to happen again. Darth Jar Jar, Light Side Vader, Beach Luke, Darth Ray. Those characters are never going to be made again. This is a set you've got to get your hands on before it's gone. And it's not like absurdly priced. It's only $10 more than the original Millennium Falcon, but that's after the Millennium Falcon had been out for 3 or 4 years. So this is a great thing to replace it. I know if you want just a standard Millennium Falcon, I wouldn't wait too long. I think Lego is going to have something just down the pipeline, probably next year or even the year following. But this is a set I think you got to buy before it leaves, because this is a set that's very unique and we're never going to see anything like it. And it's just all around, there's really nothing wrong with it. So it's one of the best sets I think we've gotten in a while. So with all that being said, there you guys have it. All the 2024 sets from Lego Star Wars, kind of put in a mismatch order. Some of these you can kind of change. Some of them aren't too far away from the predecessor or the one above. But it's been a pretty good year for Lego Star Wars sets. I think there's a lot of great, unique ideas. I think this is one of the more overpriced years. I think you can look at almost every set and say, it's a little overpriced. There's not a lot you can't say that with. So that does stink, but it's been a great year for Lego Star Wars. Let us know what your guys' least favorite and favorite set is from this year. And let us know down in the comments if you guys agree, disagree. Don't worry, our review is the best review. This list is permanent and it is objective. So with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Peace.